Welcome to Neutron Nomad channel. In the ancient scrolls of Asgard, there is a prophecy that foretells a day when the sun will rise against the Father, and the heavens will tremble. Odin, the Allfather, once dismissed it as myth, but after millennia of rule, even gods begin to fear what they cannot control. Thor, now matured and burdened by the weight of godhood, begins to question Odin's rule, his secrets, his wars, and most of all, his lies. Thor discovers that Odin had imprisoned a celestial being named Mjolnir, a peaceful time titan whose power could have prevented the 9 realms from collapsing. When Thor confronts Odin in the sacred halls of Volskjolf, it's no longer a conversation, it's war. Thor, with Mjolnir crackling in his hand, flies to the Golden Palace, where Odin awaits on the throne. Odin warns him, "You dare challenge me, boy? I've defeated time itself. You are not ready." But Thor, no longer the reckless god he once was, speaks calmly. "I am not your boy. I am the god of thunder, and I will end your tyranny." The Bifrost fractures as lightning and golden energy collide. Odin wields Gungnir, his spear forged in the core of a dying star. He summons ancient runes and time-warping spells. Thor counters with pure elemental fury, summoning a storm so massive it engulfs 3 realms. Mountains crack, skies bleed, Valkyries flee. Thor is powerful, but Odin is wise and ruthless. With a wave of his hand, he freezes time, but Thor breaks it with a scream that shatters the illusion. As they battle, Thor slashes Odin's armor, and in that moment, Odin's illusion fades, revealing a weakened, dying god clinging to power. The real Odin is aging, vulnerable, and afraid. He confesses, "I did what I must. To keep peace, I lied. I ruled with fear, because love was never enough." Thor lowers his hammer. "Then you should have trusted me." But Odin, desperate not to lose, strikes a final blow, for Thor to counter it with raw lightning, not from Mjolnir but from within. Thor defeats Odin but does not kill him. He locks away his father's powers in the vault of eternity, and banishes him to the mortal world to live and learn as a man. Thor becomes the new Allfather, but unlike Odin, he rules with transparency and truth. The 9 realms breathe again, and the storm is finally calm. This is Thor versus Odin, Wrath of the Storm. Before the great battle of Ragnarok, there was an even greater war, a war between father and son. An ancient scroll spoke of this godly war, of how the mighty god of wisdom would go against his own son, and of how the future king of Asgard would fall. Odin and Thor, the greatest of the Asgardian warriors, had always seemed inseparable. So when the prophecy came, both dismissed it. But one day, Thor found a secret scroll that revealed his father's dark deeds, and everything changed. For Odin kept hidden a truth so dangerous it could shatter Asgard. He had imprisoned a peaceful time titan who asked only to share his knowledge and help guide Asgard into the future. Yet Odin, consumed by fear of losing his power, locked him away. The scroll revealed that Odin had lied and manipulated everyone around him for his own selfish reasons. As Thor read the scroll, his heart pounded. What should he do? Should he confront his father? But why? Was this all just some trick of Loki? Or was his father really as bad as he seemed? In the end, Thor chose to face his father. He burst into Volskjolf, where Odin sat. "You are not worthy, son," Odin said, sensing Thor's anger. But Thor was beyond his father's control now. "I am the storm, father," Thor roared, "and you will drown in my wrath." The god of thunder unleashed his fury, but Odin was ready. With Gungnir, the god of wisdom stood firm. Every strike from his spear sent jolts of lightning crashing toward Thor. The god of thunder roared back, shaking the ground with each step. The Bifrost shone brightly as Odin hurled his spear, but Thor caught it. Now they faced each other in silence. Then Thor charged. The god of thunder smashed his hammer into Odin, who vanished with a flick of his wrist. When he reappeared, he twisted his staff, and suddenly the battlefield shifted, becoming a swirling vortex of magical energy. Thor stumbled. Confused, Odin had used his mastery over time to disorient him. With a deep breath, Thor gathered himself. His father was toying with him, using his knowledge of the past, present, and future to try and wear him down. But Thor didn't need any of those things. He only needed what he had right here inside of him. Suddenly, lightning exploded from Thor. Odin stumbled back, realizing too late that Thor had unlocked a power he never knew he possessed. The sheer force of Thor's inner thunder shook the vortex. The Time Titan warned of this moment. The scroll told of it. Yet Odin still didn't believe it. But now he saw it. The potential to destroy all of Asgard. And in that moment, Odin felt nothing but fear. Time seemed to slow down. As Odin struggled to regain his composure, he tried one last attack. But before he could finish his spell, Thor struck. He ripped Mjolnir from the vortex, threw it high above them, and then channeled all of his godly power into it. Mjolnir crackled with energy. For a moment, it hovered in the air, then fell. Not towards Odin, but at his feet. Odin looked up at Thor, his eyes filled with sadness and regret. All those years of manipulation, all that scheming and lying, all of it had been for nothing. Thor approached slowly, his face grim. "You're right, father," he said, his voice echoing with the power of the storm. "It's time you learned what it meant to be humble." But Odin wasn't scared. He had faced many battles, but never had he been so drained, so completely powerless. Thor raised his hammer. "I'm sorry, father," he said. And in that instant, Odin saw not just a powerful weapon, but a chance for redemption. With a final burst of strength, Odin flung his spear. It sailed through the air, arcing gracefully, then slammed into mud. The two weapons locked, their powers colliding in a blinding flash. Then, impossibly, Odin's spear began to glow. Odin smiled faintly. Perhaps Ragnarok wasn't such a bad idea after all. Maybe this was his true purpose. Thor stared in disbelief as Odin's spear absorbed the power of Mjolnir, draining his connection to Asgard. With a sudden jolt, Odin's spell was complete. Mjolnir lost its glow, falling weakly from Thor's grasp. In a flash, Odin banished Thor from Asgard. As the door to Asgard closed behind him, Odin slumped, his body racked with coughs. Thor watched, torn between anger and sorrow, but he couldn't let his father die like this. Summoning all his strength, he forced the door open and strode into Asgard. There, on the steps of Valhalla, Odin sat, weak and defeated. Thor knelt beside him. "Father," he said softly, but Odin waved him away. "No, Thor," he rasped. "You have earned the right to rule Asgard. I was wrong to keep you in the dark. I'm sorry." Tears streamed down Odin's face. "I ruled with fear, not love. I never trusted you to lead." Thor's anger melted away, replaced by sadness. He helped his father up. "Let me help you, father." Odin looked at him, his eyes filled with gratitude and love. "Thank you, son," he whispered. And in that moment, Odin knew that Ragnarok was not the end, but a new beginning. Thor led his father out of Asgard, leaving the realm to the All-Mother and the Warriors Three. As they walked side by side into the sunset, Odin knew that he had made the right choice. Thor would bring peace and truth to Asgard. And maybe, just maybe, he would finally find his own happily ever after.